Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the soul lesson of being born into a narcissistic family. So, this is the ultimate lesson. That was weird. This is the ultimate lesson in learning about your own power. And the reason it's about learning about your own power is because there's nothing more more victimizing than being a child and being isolated and being abused and having no control over it, and maybe even loving the abuser because of, Stockholm syndrome or whatever you had to do to survive. So it's easy to feel resentful when you listen to, other people discussing narcissism in relation to partners or friends or bosses or whatever, because you're like, well, at least they had a chance to escape and they made a choice. It wasn't like they were just born into it, completely helpless. And what that mentality will actually do to us is make us feel like we are a victim. And that is what the lesson is that we are not a victim. And the reason the victim mentality is so dangerous is because on some level it kind of feels good to be a victim, because it means that you don't have to take responsibility for your life because it was out of your control, and now it'll always be out of your control. And that's actually extremely disempowering. And the other thing that I've noticed about the victim mentality is that when you're in this victim mentality, there's really only like two options about who you are allowed to be. You're either allowed to be a victim or you're an abuser. And because nobody wants to be seen as an abuser, nobody with a soul or with any kind of compassion or empathy or any kind of conscience would want to be seen as an abuser or feel like they are an abuser. What then happens is that we choose to be the victim, and it plays out in our lives as feeling afraid of everything and feeling powerless because of circumstances that were beyond our control that we feel have now damaged us for life. But what we don't realize is that we don't have to be the victim or the abuser. We can actually rise above that paradigm and leave it behind entirely. So, there's not two options, a victim or abuser. It's actually possible to let both of those things go and choose to be someone who doesn't take responsibility for the thoughts, emotions, or feelings of others, and only takes responsibility for the thoughts, emotions, and feelings of ourselves. So, what does that look like? Because it can be really hard to get out of this victim mentality of feeling like you will never be whole. And the reason that's so damaging is because you didn't choose not to be whole. You didn't have a choice in the matter, but your soul was fragmented and you experienced pretty severe soul loss because of being raised by narcissists, or because someone in your family that you couldn't get away from was a narcissist. So, as you begin to heal more and more, you realize that most people are actually pretty whole. Like, they may have some small pieces that are fragmented, but compared to you, they are extremely whole. And that makes us feel even worse, because then it makes us feel like, we've gotten this close. We've gotten to the edge of becoming a narcissist ourselves. And the reason that we haven't is because that was never our intention, was not to become a narcissist. The people who become narcissists believe that they have no power. But somewhere within us, we believe that we do have the power to heal, which is why we look for answers. And we watch videos on YouTube or look at articles or see a therapist or whatever kinds of methods we think will help us heal ourselves the fastest and the best. Because on a deep level, we know that we don't want to be a narcissist, but we also don't want to be a victim, so we're not really sure what we want to be. And, what narcissistic abuse really does, especially when it's from the family of origin or one of your parents, is that it puts us all the way down in the throes, in the deepest, most intense experience of powerlessness, because it's something we didn't choose. But I think that it is something we choose, and the way that past lives play into it is that we are choosing to have this soul-shattering experience in this life because that's the only catalyst strong enough to propel us to heal ourselves entirely from other lives. So, personally, my soul was pretty, I would say, shattered after experiencing my childhood from deep isolation and constant abuse directed my way from, you know, one of my parents, and then the other one didn't do anything about it and didn't care. But then as I started to go deeper and do more of the inner work, once I was old enough to leave, then I realized that I had actually come into this life with lots of past life issues that I was now being forced to heal because it was what was necessary for my soul to survive. So it's really like a make or break situation. It's like, are you going to choose to take on the work and take responsibility for all of your issues from past lives, whether or not they were your fault? Or are you going to choose to stay in this victim mentality of, I had no control, therefore it is not my fault, I can't take responsibility for this, and I'm going to choose to see myself as a victim? Which is very tempting to do, and which I've done most of my life. So I definitely am not judging anyone for that. But what I am saying is that while blame can feel good and it can make us feel like something wasn't our fault, ultimately, like we can blame someone for abusing, and we can't blame someone for being abused. But ultimately, blame is irrelevant because what is necessary to heal is not pointing fingers. It's really just looking at ourselves and saying, what happened to me was horrible and I didn't deserve it. But how do I heal myself so that I don't have to live another life like this where I'm forced to look at my issues? And, you know, it may seem like a really extreme way to force a soul to heal themselves, but then you have to remember that we come in to this planet, into these bodies, completely, in a complete state of amnesia, and we don't remember why we came here. So there has to be this huge catalyst pushing us into ourselves and healing ourselves and healing our subconscious beliefs on a subconscious, history / past life, genetic, and soul level. So all of our issues, most of our issues that we are dealing with, we were actually existed before we were even born because of other lives. So, you know, if you've been the victim of narcissistic abuse from childhood, then you've actually been granted an opportunity to completely heal yourself and never have to return to this planet or this dimension. So if you choose to take on the work, even realizing that it wasn't something you can control and it wasn't something that maybe you consciously wanted, the catalyst can be strong enough for you to completely heal yourself and then return home whole. And you don't have to experience this world again. You've outgrown it. And that's ultimately the purpose of narcissistic abuse from someone who was abused as a child. And I truly believe that, and I've also come a long way in my own healing experience, and I'm going to start start sharing. Well, I mean, it won't be free, but I will start sharing the ways that I've been able to heal myself because that's part of, like, my soul's mission, is to, you know, help others. So thanks for watching today, and I hope you have a great day.